Welcome to G2, the Got to Give More Financial Planner. Be sure you've already watched the G2 overview tutorial as it goes through several key concepts. Developing a comprehensive financial plan takes time. It's an iterative process refined over several months as you identify your goals and expenses, track your expenses, and further refine your plan. We want to get you going, so consider this as your first pass. This time through, you'll enter some of your basic financial data. First, download the G2 Excel spreadsheet and save it on your laptop. To get going, we'll focus on 3 tabs: the Income tab, Mile Marker Goal tab, and Household Spending Plan tab. First is Income. Using your most recent payroll checks, enter your total household income on the Income tab. Include everyone in your household. Enter the employer name, number of paychecks per year, and the net take-home pay per paycheck. In this example, Fred and Wilma both get paychecks, but at different times each month. Each paycheck gets its own column, and the total net monthly income is then transferred over to the Household Spending Plan tab. Next, let's go to the Mile Marker Goal tab. This tab focuses on your savings and debt elimination goals. Right now, focus on debt elimination. Information for the debt elimination goals typically comes from your most recent debt or credit card statement. For debt elimination, the goal is to pay off the debt completely. Therefore, the target is going to be 0. For every one of your outstanding consumer debts, enter the following information: the debt name, the target, which is 0, current outstanding debt balance, the annual percentage rate charged on that debt, the minimum payment due, and the mile marker is equal to 2. For the minimum payment, enter the payment from your statement, not what you've been paying or think you should be paying. The outstanding current balance appears as a negative number since it's the money you owe to somebody else. G2 converts this number to negative even if you enter a positive number. Typical debt includes credit cards, car loans, student loans, IRS payments, medical debt, and so on. Once that is entered, move on to the Household Spending Plan tab. First, enter the plan date in month, year format. For this first pass, focus on the typical expenses you have each month. Use your gut feel for your monthly expenses. Over the next several months, you'll refine the plan in subsequent revisions. Take a minute and scroll through all the categories. There are lots of them to help spur your thinking to include all of your expenses throughout the year, not just the current month. Enter the monthly amounts that you typically spend. A ballpark figure is just fine. Be sure to enter the monthly amount, not the yearly amount. Common household spending plan entries include charitable giving, rent, utilities, car fuel, car insurance, cell phone plan, groceries, fast food, household supplies, subscriptions like Netflix or Amazon Prime, gifts, travel, even gym membership. Some of your expenses may be incurred just once or twice a year. G2 handles those too. We call them future periodic expenses. In G2, you signify these expenses by scheduling the monthly amount, the due date, and the frequency. The goal is to save enough each month so you have the cash available when the expense comes due. common future periodic expenses include items like car registration tabs and car maintenance. Let's consider a car registration tab. For this example, Wilma's car tabs are due in May. So the month due equals 5 for May. The count equals 1 for once a year. And the last year's amount of $216 divided by 12. Car maintenance requires periodic oil changes. Fred and Wilma bring both of their cars in about the same time. The next one due is in March, so enter 3 for March. They're done twice a year, so the count is 2. And each oil change is $150 times 2 cars times twice a year divided by 12 equals 50. Use the yellow notes on the side to remember how the expense was calculated. Scheduling future periodic expenses sets G2 apart and enables one single spending plan to cover multiple months. With that, your household spending plan first pass is complete. To see where you stand, scroll up to the household spending plan dashboard. Notice the distribution of income into giving, living, debt, directed savings, and margin. Remember, margin is income less expenses. If margin is positive, congratulations. That's indicated by the color purple. Your income is greater than expenses, and available margin is automatically applied to your mile marker goals. If the margin is balanced, that's good. The color is green. That means income is exactly equal your expenses. However, there's no available margin to apply to your mile marker goals. If your margin is negative, you need to take action. That's indicated by the color red. Income is less than expenses. You'll need to review and rework your household spending plan to increase income or decrease expenses. You might do that by decreasing or eliminate the wants from your plan. And don't forget to review your periodic expenses to be sure you've entered a monthly amount, not an annual amount. Now go back to the Mile Marker Goal tab. In the Mile Marker Goal Dashboard section, notice that G2 automatically applies the margin to your goals. Margin is applied in mile marker goal order to accelerate goal completion. We need to fill in our mile marker 1 and mile marker 3 savings goals based on the data that was already entered in the household spending plan. Remember, mile marker 1 is equal to 1 month's expense plus 1 year of periodic expenses from the household spending plan. And mile marker 3 is your life fund, which is 3 to 9 months of expenses. In the data entry section, enter your mile marker 1 and mile marker 3 goals using the hints above. In this case, mile marker 1 periodic total is about $5,000. Your mile marker 1 household expenses is about $6,000. Your mile marker 3 is the life fund is $18,000 to $60,000. Since Fred and Wilma receive regular paychecks, they chose $18,000. Mile marker 1 and mile marker 3 are both savings goals, so the target is the balance in your savings account when the goal is complete. G2 automatically applies interest earned for the savings goals. Mile marker 1 funds are in checking account, so they earn 0 interest. Mile marker 3 funds are in a high-yield money market fund, and that earns 2%. For savings goals, the monthly interest is added to your account and it's reflected in the completion dates for each of the mile marker savings goals. If you scroll down to the Calculated Results table, you can see the completion dates for each individual savings and debt goal. Based on your current plan, you can see the goal completion dates. The Mile Marker Goal dashboard shows the completion dates for the entire mile marker. Because G2 is completely integrated, as you make changes to your plan, the resulting completion dates are automatically calculated and displayed. As the G2 overview tutorial mentioned before, the planner integrates multiple tabs. We already saw that in the Mile Marker Goal tab with the hints from the Household Spending Plan. G2 pulls together data from the Household Spending Plan and the Daily Tracker as well. Let's go to the Household Spending Plan once more. The Household Spending Plan dashboard pulls income from the Income tab, pulls debt and directed savings from the Mile Marker Goal tab. The Household Spending Plan chart of total periodic expenses due each month shows when they each come due. The graphic representation gives you a heads up and allows you to do some planning in advance. Also note the savings required each month for your future periodic expenses. It's important that you save this amount each month so you have the cash available to pay your expenses when they come due. Next, let's go to the Daily Tracker. The Daily Tracking tab pulls categories and amounts from the Household Spending Plan and your Mile Marker Goal tab for easy tracking. Scroll down and see all the data pulled together. All the Household Spending Plan categories and amounts, and then at the bottom your Mile Marker Goal, savings, and debt elimination goals are displayed. Scroll back up to the top of the Daily Tracker. Use the Hide Unused Category button to collapse unused categories. Note for future periodic expenses, the tracking month determines the tracking amount due. If the tracking date matches the scheduled date due, the full periodic expense amount is due and a warning is issued. For example, Wilma's car tabs were due in May. Set the tracking date to May 2021. Scroll down to the Transportation section. The May plan shows that the tabs are due. The light blue box shows you that this is a periodic expense. Let's do the same thing with the oil changes. Those were due in March. Scroll up and set the tracking date to March 2021. In the Transportation section, the plan reflects the March oil change and that expense is due. This G2 feature allows one spending plan to cover an entire year of expenses, and it makes it easy to track when those expenses come due. Congratulations! You have just completed the G2 Quick Start. So what's next? Track every dollar every day. Developing your household spending plan is an iterative process. Tracking identifies items in your household spending plan that may need adjusting. Daily tracking is an important financial discipline, so track every dollar every day. The G2 Daily Tracking tab makes it easy. You'll just set the tracking date equal to the current month and year, and then track everything, even expenses that you didn't plan for, income that you didn't anticipate, or bills you forgot to include in your first pass. Track your applied margin and future periodic expenses as well. Use the yellow notepad for any unexpected events. Remember, 21 days makes a habit. Schedule a time to track every dollar every day, and by the end of the month, you'll have developed a great financial skill. That's it for G2 Quick Start. The next tutorial reviews and refines your plan based on a detailed walkthrough and daily tracking insights. See you next time.